How do you build a network, run a profitable business, and make an impact? Oh, and have a personal life at the same time? That's the question, and this podcast is the answer. I'm your host, Chaz Wilson, husband, father of five, author of the book 5+1, president and co-founder of Master Networks, Inc., a national networking organization. Look, each week I bring you successful entrepreneurs who will share success strategies of how to effectively build a network, add valuable wisdom to your journey, and help you succeed. Welcome to Connect, Share, and Prosper. Hey everybody, welcome to Connect, Share, Prosper. I am your host, Chaz Wilson. I'm super excited today, but before we start, I want to start with this quote. It's actually a John Wooden quote, and he said, quote, "It's what you learn after you know it all that counts." So let me say it again. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. And a great coach can help you see what you need to learn after you think you know it all. I am here with Michael Tritthart, our guest today. Michael has a master's in education from UNT, and he joined the great real estate company Keller Williams in 2004 to train agents, and he's been doing that for quite a while and has really mastered the ability to teach people in the real estate world, and now is taking that to the business world at large. He is married to his wife, Chantel, 2 children, and 1 dog named Maximus. I also have a dog named Max.
I know. He'll probably bust down this door here in a little bit and come pay a visit. He's a wild man.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if his name is Max, he better be a wild man. So
Exactly.
Welcome to the show, Michael Tritthart. So glad you could be with us.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. So listen, some of the accomplishments, I want to share this with the audience. And listen, if you guys are tuning in live, so glad you're here and with us. Remember, you can always subscribe to our Facebook channel, our YouTubes, Instagram, everything to get notified. Click the little buzzer to be notified when we go live so you can get all this great, amazing stuff. But let me read you guys some stats really quick. I think are staggering, Michael, and I want to get some insight on this and how you've done this. You've helped $85,000 worth of booked business in one day for a bridal shop owner.
Yep.
63 real estate listings in 1 hour for one agent. That I got to find out about.
That was fun.
$8.25 million real estate buyer in 30 minutes. 647 leads for one class attendee in 10 minutes. And you helped somebody create a lead in 2 seconds of going live.
That's right.
Okay. 63 real estate listings in 1 hour. How is that possible?
So the backstory on that one, it was a workshop that I was doing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And to back this up a little bit, all the classes that I teach, they are hands-on lead generation type activities, kinesthetic.
Yes.
I'm not a big theory fan because again, it's kind of cool that you started off with John Wooden. I'm an old athletic coach as well. And it's all about the application for me.
Yeah.
And so when I teach these lead generation sessions, I want people to be able to go out and apply it and do it right there in the class. And so we had a technique that we were doing on Facebook. And there's a couple things about real estate, but also business professionals. Sometimes they don't want to be bold and they don't want to ask for the business, right? They feel a little uncomfortable in doing that. Sure. And so what we did in this session, it was for Facebook. We actually put a message out on Facebook, and it was basically a "who do you know" message. And the response to that, there was a gentleman who responded, and the guy who got the leads, his name was Mike as well. And he just starts laughing. It was about an hour after we did the post. He's like, "Hey, can I share the response?" I said, "Yeah, absolutely." He goes, "Hey guys, I posted exactly what Michael told us to do in the class. Here's the response. Hey Mike, haven't seen you in over a year. Hope you're doing well. Hey, I was eating lunch, saw your post. We've got 63 REO listings that need to be listed in your area. Can you and your team do those for us?"
Oh my good. Well, help everyone understand what the REO is for those that aren't in real estate.
Well, I mean, it's basically a bank-owned property. You know, it's going in and being able to be the listing agent for 63 properties. And
amazing.
It was as simple as just a post that literally took him 1 minute to type.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And so first of all, that's what I love about working with you is you are very pragmatic, hands-on. Don't teach theory. You and I are very similar in that right. regard. But you said something. You're a coach, and I know that you coached what, football?
You know, football was my primary because it is Texas, and that is always the primary.
Right.
But But I coached football, coached baseball, coached track, coached basketball, just kind of depended on the season. But football was the primary.
So how did you get into coaching football?
So I graduated in, this is going to show you my age. I graduated college in 1995. And my father has been in real estate since the mid 80s. And before I even got into going to college, I was thinking about getting in and becoming a real estate agent. And he was like, you know what, if you become a real estate agent, you're going to have to work hard, and every dime you make is going to have to go back in your business. You're going to suffer. He's putting the fear of God into it, you know. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go to college and make a lot of money. I'm going to become a teacher, you know. And I was like, oh, okay. So I go down to Texas, leave Oklahoma, go down to Texas. It's an immediate $10,000, $15,000 pay raise.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to teach and coach football, I mean, Texas is where you want to be. And so I came down and I got into coaching football here in the North Texas area, Plano for 4 years, Allen, Texas for 6 years. Allen is now a football mecca, but just a whole different mindset, a whole different world.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to the athletes, the facilities, the expectations, every aspect. It is the major leagues for sure.
I mean, now Allen's a dominant powerhouse because you were there, right? I mean, that's, you started.
I'm going to totally take all the credit. No. Yeah. But I mean, I joined the staff in Allen, Texas, and we were the first ones to open up our indoor football field. And everybody in this call is like, what? Yeah. High school, we had an indoor football field. It's an $8 million building, and it's insane.
I mean, so here's what's interesting. I played a year of college football, and and now there's a stadium there that they put in Minnesota, they put in the turf field, and they actually have a portable bubble that they can put over it in the wintertime.
Right.
It's pretty cool. But when I played there, it was just the grass field with 2 goalposts and some metal stands, you know, and you had to walk the field and pick up the rocks before you went to play.
That's what I had in high school in Oklahoma. That's what I was used to.
Yeah. And now
we have Division I coaches that would come in to recruit our kids at Allen, and they walk in and they're like, yeah, we can't recruit your kids. And we're like, why? And they go, they don't want to step down to our D1 facility. Yeah. They were dead serious.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Our city right now is building a brand new football stadium. It'll be done this year. Something like 60+ million. It's crazy. It's crazy. It was quite a shock when we moved from Minnesota to Texas to see the football, the religion of football.
It's huge, you know, and it's the expectations of it all as well too. And it's not just on the players, it's on the coaches, of course. It's on the academic side of it, making sure that these kids are doing what they need to be doing.
Sure.
I mean, it's a fully rounded, well-oiled machine.
What's the biggest thing you learned in being a coach, especially in the sports world?
Not being afraid of failure. Because you can have the best game plan ever, and we did. And then 2 plays into the game, your star athlete busts an ankle up, blows his knee out, something, right? And it's on to plan B. And you always have to be prepared, and especially as a coach, and especially as a football coach, because you're being constantly evaluated every Friday night. Like you're doing a job review every week.
Yep.
Right? So you got to be ready, and you got to put the hours in, and you got to have the discipline to do all of that. And you know, there's so many different things that I learned as a football coach that apply to business. And you know, there's almost every aspect of my business that I run right now is benefited from me being a coach, because one of the things I learned on very early is I can't do it all myself.
Yeah.
I got to leverage. You know, just like our head coach had to leverage out to great assistant coaches, the assistant coaches had to leverage out to great players. You got to do the same thing if you truly want to build the business. It can't all be yourself. You'll run yourself ragged.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Like, there's so many parallels between sports, especially coaching and playing, that come into business. And when you're talking about being prepared and having the plan, the playbook or whatever it is that you have,
right,
game plan, and then, 2 plays in, something happens. I can't even think of the number of times that we had that happen when I coached, because I also coached high school football, and and especially, and I coach my little boys now too. And that's like, there's always something that happens, but that's what happens in business. And so
absolutely
being prepared, but like, can you even imagine playing sports without a coach?
No, not at all. And it's one of those things where you got to be prepared, but you got to be prepared to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Because you always hear that if you watch the games now and you hear the announcers, they're going to go in and make the halftime adjustments, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, you got to make your business adjustments on a constant basis because the market is going to change on you. Employees are going to change. People are going to move on to other opportunities. The product that you have been offering to people for many, many years maybe become outdated because of technology. That's another thing that's affecting the business world right now is the advanced speed of artificial intelligence and technology and how it's just radically adjusting a lot of business verticals.
What's one thing that people should do with that change right now? With all the technology changes, what do they need to know? Like, what's one thing that it's just an absolute must now that every business must know?
You got to embrace the change. I mean, that's essential. You have to embrace the change. Because when I was a teacher and a coach, I was a history teacher. And I'm going to give you my example of embracing the change. I go to Allen, Texas, and I go into teacher orientation. Again, former history teacher, I could barely use a computer. I never needed it because I'm in the library doing my research, building lesson plans. And I go to Allen, Texas, and the very first thing they tell us on day one is, hey guys, we're a tech progressive school district. You're going to learn how to build a website. You're going to teach the kids on how to build a website. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. We had grown adult teachers start to cry. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
We had one quit on the spot. She's like, I'm done. Can't do this. I'm sitting there going, well, I'm just going to fake it for a year until they figure out I couldn't make it, and then they'll fire me and I'll go somewhere else. But what I learned very quickly is to take the research skills that I had learned as a teacher, as a history teacher, and apply those to the tech world. So if you don't know what you need, go find out what you need, leverage that out to the people who can build it. And that's the key, is you can't wing this, especially with technology. You're going to have to research it, and you're going to have to learn it. And you're going to have to learn, hey, here's my limited capabilities on it, but I need to go find somebody who can do it for me.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what people fear, right? They fear because they don't know how to do it. But think about all the things that over the last 10 years, you didn't know how to do 10 years ago now, technology-wise, or 20 years or whatever it is that now just become easy to do. Yeah. You can't imagine doing it any other way.
Yeah.
But we fear that in business. It's funny to see people do that so like
you have to embrace the chaos. There's going to be chaos in your business life. There's going to be chaos in your personal life. You're just going to have to know it's never going to be perfect. You're going to have to adjust. You're going to have to change and evolve.
Yeah, and I know you teach a lot of Google My Business stuff. That's really something that's in your wheelhouse that you teach people. Like, what's one tip that you could give somebody right now that they should look at when it comes to Google My Business and how they could? I mean, look, your stats are incredible. 647 leads for one class attendee in 10 minutes. I mean, listen, those almost sound not achievable. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, the 647, again, I am a very action-oriented person. And so everything that I teach when it comes to Google My Business, when it comes to social media, I don't beat around the bush. We're going to ask for the business. Now, you're not going to do it every single day, but don't be a secret real estate agent. Don't be a secret business owner. Be proud of what you do. Reach out to these people. These are connections. These are, if you're connected with them on Facebook or Twitter or any other platform, typically they're connected with you because they know you, they like what you do. I mean, there's some type of attraction that is positive. And so reach out to these people. And the 647 leads, that was actually a former special forces guy.
Yeah.
He did 4 tours in Afghanistan. We were talking before class, and 10, 15 minutes into the workshop, we did another very action-oriented call out. He puts it out there. We finish up the workshop 10 minutes later, and I ask everybody to raise their hand. How many leads you guys getting? We had 3 or 4 people go, I got 1, I got 2, I got 5. And he goes, I got 647. And I was like, wait, what? He goes, yeah, 647. And I went and looked over his shoulder, and I could see him. And I was like, how did you get these? He's like, well, I can't tell you. And I'm like, I'm not asking. former special forces. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. He was an interrogator, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's the thing is you gotta be fearless as a business owner. You got to put it out there sometimes. And that's comes into play with Google. Google owns the online game. And actually what I say in my classes a lot of time is Google owns the world and we just happen to live in it.
Yeah.
And you need to have your business with a major presence on Google. And one of the best ways of doing that, and one of the best ways of doing that for free, is Google My Business. I mean, it's insanely easy to do.
Okay, so I go start and build, and I know you teach classes on this, and it's part of the 5+1 Mastery course that you're the head coach of, and so I understand people pay for this knowledge. But like, give me one thing, give our listeners one thing. Like, I'm going to go build my Google My Business page. What do I need to make sure is on there? What do I need to make sure that that I put on there front and center?
So you got to have call to actions on the page. Number one, people need to know how to find your business. And maybe some of you on this call have a brick and mortar. Like, I could drive up to Master Networks headquarters and knock on the door and set an appointment and do whatever I need to do. And that's fine. Others on this call, they may be like a handyman. You service a certain area.
Sure.
So with Google My Business, you can have a service area. So you need to understand, how you want to present your business. And then you got to feed the machine. And what I mean by feed the machine is you got to put photos and videos of your business, of your customers on there. There's also a great way and opportunity for you to go out and request reviews from past clients and get the reviews on there. The more reviews you put on there, the higher up you're going to go on the list of Google's favorite sites. I mean, they'll never tell you that. You just see that in the results. Okay. And then they have a new feature. And most people on this call probably already have a Google My Business page, and they're all going, "Oh yeah, I've got one.
Right.
I got one. It's there. I mean, it's there, but you got to actively feed it, right?" And one of the best ways of doing that is, and it's a fairly new feature, it's called Post, P-O-S-T-S, Post. And I go in and I can post major announcements about my business. Like Master Networks could go in and announce, "Hey, we released the playbook." If you own a jewelry store, it could be buy 3, get the 4th one free, 15% off for a spring sale, whatever the case may be. And those are call to actions that you can put on your Google My Business page that people are going to see associated to your business. And I've had agents, real estate agents, who have set up their Google My Business page, and they'll go out and they'll get the reviews and they'll do the posts and they'll add their photos, and they'll come back to my class a year later and they'll go, "You know what? I made over $100,000 annually last year." Wow. All of it was directed back to Google My Business.
There's a $100,000 tip right there. I mean, I'm thinking about it as you said, and like, okay, we got to go make sure we're posting on our Google My Business page, because I'm sure we're not.
Yeah, and most people aren't, because they look at it and go, "Well, I got it set up, and I don't have time to do that." And that's when we went back just a little bit ago when we were talking about leverage, and building your team. Maybe you find somebody that can do that for you. It's not hard to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it's just one of those things where you do have to build in the time for it to be done.
Wow, so good. Guys, if you're just joining in, we are listening to Michael Tritthart, my guest today, husband, father of 2, former football coach of almost all sports, it sounds like, and a Google My Business expert, and many, many other things expert, and also the head coach of the 5+1, the book I wrote, the 5+1 Mastery Program. And so let me talk about that for a second, because you and I met through Master Networks. We met at a chapter meeting and got to know each other. And I think we both have this love for education, for training and seeing people succeed. And you came into this world as we're putting this thing together about 5+1 Mastery. And we started talking through this and kind of vetting through this process. And I've got a copy of the playbook. You probably have one too, but I've got my copy of the playbook right here. I mean, look at this thing. This thing, if you can't see it, if you're listening, let me just describe it. This is a 3-ring binder. And I think there's what did we determine there was, like 400 and something pages in this thing?
It's a good 10 pounds,
Oh yeah. It's heavy. It's heavy. But it's not just full of nonsense in there. This is the playbook. So like you were describing at the beginning, when you take the field, you better have a good playbook. You better have a good game plan in business, because look, there's more than just a game on the line. For a lot of you, this is your income. It's how you provide. There's people counting on you and so forth. So Michael, that being said, laying down the foundation for this 5+1 Mastery group that we have, tell people from your perspective what excites you about it, and why did you accept the role to become the head coach of that?
Well, I joined Master Networks in November of 2018. And my goal as a business owner was I wanted to expand my training business, my design business into other verticals. We had done really well in the real estate space, and we continue to do really well in the real estate space, but I wanted to expand it. I wanted to have growth for my team. And I basically wanted to start to create that legacy for everybody on our team to not only have success, but to pass that success on to our clients into all these different verticals. And so Master Networks had been a company that I had known of for many, many years through Susan Hubeck. I've known Susan for many years with Keller Williams Realty. And so we've sat down, we circled back to it. I found that it was a great fit. And Susan's like, you know what, you really need to join the McKinney Downtown chapter. That's where Chaz is at. And I said, okay, yeah, that's great.
That's why you came, because I was there. Now you tell me.
Exactly. You know, I'm like, hey, if I'm gonna do this, might as well go to where it's happening, right? And so joined the chapter. But you know, Savannah, who runs that chapter, is just a fireball. I mean, she gets it, right? She lives and breathes Master Networks, and it's awesome. And just the energy that we feed off of in that chapter, it's contagious. And so you and I, we started talking about, you know, hey, what if we did this? What if we did that? What if we put this program together? Yep. And what I really liked about it was everything you said, I agreed with, and everything I said, you pretty much agreed with as well. It's like we were just in sync immediately, right? Mm-hmm. We both said we don't want a coaching program. Yeah. We want a mastery program. Yeah. We want an action-based.
What's the difference? Program. What's the difference?
To me, a coaching program, and again, and I'm going to say this, and here's my disclaimer. I'm not trying to offend any coaches by any means whatsoever. But to me, I need the practicality. I need the application aspect of it. And again, I go back to my football days. I could tell, my coaches could tell me on the chalkboard or on the whiteboard, hey, here's how to run that play. But until I actually went out and did that play and applied what they taught me and had the modifications right there on the field, I didn't truly get it. And so that's just the way I learn. I'm very much kinesthetic. I want to feel it. I want to experience it. I want to learn it that way. And I feel like that's what we've achieved so far with the playbook, is to make it very kinesthetic.
Yeah, when I look at something, and I agree with that, and when I look at coaching, like I think back to my football days, since we use that example, you know, and I shared this from stage at Connect, is that when I wanted to play high school football, I wanted to play quarterback, and I threw left-handed. And the coach, I just think he didn't want me to play quarterback. So he's like, yeah, our offense isn't built for a left-handed quarterback.
Right.
Which, okay, I guess.
Which, hey, I'm left-handed, and I don't like that biasness, but okay. Well,
yeah, right. So I said, okay, well, there's a challenge. So I'm going to learn how to throw the ball right-handed, and I did. And then I really got into not just having a coach to do that, but into the mastery, meaning I took what the coach told me, because that's coaching, and then I got into, like you said, into the implementation of it, and I went out and I threw and I threw and I threw and I threw and I threw. And what's fun is when I still throw the ball with my boys, I still throw with both hands, so that I keep that up and I can still stay in that mastery of being able to throw really well with both arms. But I think in business, it's that mastery of not, I mean, there's plenty of coaching programs, and I know you're like, I don't want to offend any coaches, but you know, frankly, I think there's too many coaches that shouldn't be coaches. So that might offend them, but that's tough. Like, they shouldn't be coaches because they're not actually doing the things they teach.
Yeah.
Right. And mastery is when I can say, this is why it's mastery. You know, 5+1 is the stuff that we do all the time and every day.
Absolutely.
In our businesses that are successful. So when we teach mastery, it's because we do this stuff. It's not theory.
Yeah. You know, and you know, what you just said too, you said your coach challenged you to, you know, to throw not left-handed, but right-handed. That's what we're doing in the playbook. That's what we're doing in this. We are challenging the members, the Founders 51, to up their game in their business. Yeah. A certain level of accountability when they see others doing it and starting to see that success. And we don't challenge it to be like aggressive and demeaning or anything like that, but it's to lift you up and to power you through. Because as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you're going to find that you feel a little bit of moment of solitude. Like, man, I'm in this by myself. I don't have anybody to kind of rely on. There's nobody in the trenches doing it with me. But now with the Playbook Mastery Group, there's, in this case, 51 other members of the group that are right there with you, learning, achieving, failing forward, but building their business as they go.
Yeah, it's funny. We launched the first group. We called it the Founders 51. And so the first 51 people got a little pin with a number on it and all this. If you're listening right now and you're one of the Founders 51, I want you to go in and type your Founders 51 number in the comments, because I know a lot of you are listening. And we were like amazed at how everyone wanted their number. I've heard about people trading their numbers. I've heard, right?
Yeah. It's got back to, again, to the athletic days where, you know, there's a new guy on the team and somebody else has his jersey number and is like, hey, I'm going to buy you a steak dinner and give you some money if you give me your number, that type of thing. So we had a lot of people trading numbers, which was actually pretty cool, because that means they've internalized what we're talking about. I mean, they're wearing the pin with pride, but they're living and breathing and delivering 5+1.
So here's what's interesting. I bet there's people thinking right now, okay, that's cool. There's a new program. You don't want to call it coaching. It's mastery. Maybe that's just a play on words. Or like, why would I need it? How much is it? It's probably too expensive.
Right.
I'm doing just fine on my own. Like, what do you say to people who are sitting here listening to this going, oh, a podcast that talked about a coaching program, or they're calling it mastery? What would you say to them about what they're thinking right now?
You know, you've got to experience first. You got to understand it, because I know there's been other coaching programs out there that people sign up for and they're like, it's not really what I want. Truly, I'm telling you this straight up, if you don't see action, you don't see results from the playbook, then you can drop out.
Yeah.
Because you will see it, period, end of story. I mean, that's just my mentality, is we are going to deliver this, and we already are. And what's really cool is we're starting to see other members stepping up and starting to deliver. In the last 3 days, I've had probably 3 or 4 conversations where other Founders 51 members are going, you know what, I want to bring this to the table for everybody. I want to be able to share this. I want to show them how to grow this aspect of their business. I want to be able to become an assistant coach on the playbook and really step in and help everybody else. This is an all in it to win it type of situation. And that's not for everybody.
No. In fact, I would say to add to that, if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, this is interesting, guys, here's what I would say is, if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're working hard and you just haven't got ahead and year after year it's the same kind of result, then you need to reach out to Michael, because he's the guy that, like, look, when I saw him and I started to approach him about this idea, I was like, I really want this guy to be a part of it. And what I was excited about was how fast you were excited about it.
Right.
Like, it's one thing to say, hey, we've got this new shiny object, and you're like, oh, that's cool, I'm interested.
Right.
But I could see the wheels turning for you really fast to go, this stuff right here is solid. Like, this stuff right here in the book that I'm showing everybody is solid. The content's there, but then you could bring your skill set to it, and we could bring a whole group of people into it and just explode everyone's business. So
yeah, and that's the cool thing about it too, because I was sitting there going, you know what, this is a perfect fit for all the tech lead generation workshops that I've been doing for years and years. You know, it just melds so perfectly with what I'm doing. That's what really got me excited about it.
So let's switch gears just for a second. So you've done a lot of training across the country, which means you probably got on a lot of planes. You've done a lot of traveling.
Yes.
And a lot of like being in front of rooms. So I want to know, is there an experience, like right off the top of your head, is there like a funny story in training or experience in your travels? I know this catch you off guard here, but have you ever had one of those like, holy smokes, you had to see that to believe it kind of thing, or just?
Well, yeah, well, you know, the one that came to mind, we were doing a class, this was years ago, and you know, of all the places that I travel and train, this would actually happen to be in Dallas, so it wasn't that big far of a travel. Yeah. But we had a packed room, and we're teaching, and the only seats available were in the very front. And this gentleman, he comes running in like 10 minutes late. We'd already been going. We had a projector going, and he comes in, and as he comes in, he catches the extension cord of the projector. And I'm not talking like, you know, he didn't like nudge it or just knock it off. It went flying like 10 feet across the room. That's how fast this guy was running through, and just destroyed the projector, put it into a bazillion pieces.
Ball broke and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like, all right, going to shadow puppets now. All right, here we go.
Hey, well, that goes to your point about you better, like, your star player was your projector. It went down. You got to, like, have a backup.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there was another one too. I was doing a class at Penn State.
Yeah.
We had stadium seating theater, 500 seats in there. We had a 150-foot screen. They had a green room for the instructor. I mean, we're talking like rock star status. This was the coolest room that I've ever trained in. And I've trained in it multiple times, but the very first time we were there, we asked them multiple times, are we good with the internet? Because, we're going to go hands-on. We're going to have 500 people going hands-on. They're like, oh, we're good. We're good. We're solid. And we're like, okay, we're just making sure. Oh, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. 10 minutes into the class, we blow the internet for the whole campus. It was done, right? And so, again, you go to plan B. And that's where, as an instructor, you always have to have the plan B. You have to be able to verbalize it. We had some printed handouts. We had people scrambling to Best Buy trying to buy, Wi-Fi routers and everything else. So just hotspots, you name it. But it's one of those things where you have to have that plan of action. And as an instructor, I've been doing it so many years that just really comes natural to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much seen everything, experienced everything.
I was just thinking, like, first of all, those are crazy. I mean, I couldn't imagine what that guy felt like when he knocked down the.
I know.
Everybody's had a moment.
I feel bad for the guy, because everybody's looking at him like, dude, I'm about ready to kill you.
And as a trainer, that's one of the things you never go, what happened? What'd you do? You just, you don't draw more attention to it, right?
Yeah.
But like the only one I can think of is I was going to do a speaking engagement and I was on just about to go on stage. And I was the first of two speakers. It was a 3.5 hour block with one break. And the other speaker wasn't there. And then he finally walked up. I mean, I'm literally like, they're reading my introduction.
Right.
And he just looks at me and he goes, I've been thrown up. Like I've been in the bathroom. I am sick as a dog. I cannot do this. And the person who's running the event standing right there. And she looks at me and she goes, can you take the whole 3 hours? Like, I mean, I'm supposed to go up for about an hour and he was going to take 2.5 hours. But, I was like, okay, now I got to go to the memory banks of all the stories I can tell and really drag, get some more, like you just got that playbook, that bag of things, right?
Yeah. I mean, as an instructor, you can rely back onto those life experiences. But here's my training tip for everybody in here that wants to be a teacher and an instructor. Yeah. If you ever get stuck in a situation like that, or you need to have more time, rely on the audience, turn it into a mastermind, let them discuss among the group, and then you circle back and you clear that topic. And that not only does that, lengthen out the time of the presentation, but they actually love it because it's a buy-in on the audience. They're digging in, they're able to share. And we've done that many times, not to extend time, but just to actually do those type of masterminds. And 99.9% of the time, they love them.
So good. So good. So, guys, you're listening to Michael Tritthart, head coach of the 5+1 Mastery Program, lead trainer, lead coach. Okay, so you coach and help in this mastery program people that are in business. Let's end on this. What would be the one tip, the one thing that most business owners struggle with that they need to, like, what's the one tip to overcome that?
So the one thing in the playbook, we did basically a needs analysis for everybody who joined. We did 5+1 assessment. Where are you at? What are you strong at? What are you weak at? And I think almost to a T, the part that most entrepreneurs, most business owners struggle with was team building.
Yeah.
Because they all try to do it themselves. They internalize the stress, they internalize the systems, they internalize the whole process trying to build the business. It kind of becomes that Saturday Night Live skit mentality of move and just let me do it.
Yeah, right. Was that Jimmy Fallon? I think that was Jimmy Fallon.
Jimmy Fallon. And I still do that every once in a while to my wife when she's trying to do something techie at the house. I'm like, move, She's like, oh, shut up, gives me an elbow. But that is basically what's happening with I think a lot of the business owners is they try, especially if you are a startup and you are, bootstrapping this in the beginning, you have that mentality of, I can't afford other people. Well, you can't not afford other people. You've got to build your business. You got to leverage that out. I can't do all of what I do on my training team and my design team. I've got to get quality people. because that frees me up to do the lead generation that I need to be doing for my business. You know, you need to think about, are you the highest paid copier or copy editor in your business?
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so if people are struggling with that, you help them through getting the process of, you know, thinking of hiring, how to hire, who to hire, how to build that team, like when is the right time?
Yeah. One of the things that we're getting ready to dive in deep on the playbook is the 135, and which is basically your blueprint, your business plan, and identifying the goal, and then how are we going to achieve that goal? Who's going to do it? When are they going to do it? Right? Because again, it can all be yourself. You've got to be able to understand leverage is the key to any successful business.
So 5+1mastery.com is the website they can go to. They can get information, sign up.
Absolutely.
New groups coming, right?
Yeah. And you know, another thing too is ask the other people. Feel free to reach out. We'll give you some names, you know, as long as they're willing to discuss it with you, which I think probably almost everybody in the group is willing to do that.
I'll probably put their number in the comments. You can see them, and then they'll reach out to them.
Anybody that's on this podcast that has the numbers and you see the name, reach out to them and ask them for their honest feedback. You know, don't listen to Chaz, don't listen to Michael, listen to the people that are actually doing it and using it to build their business. That's going to be the true testimony of the playbook.
So let me ask you last question. Okay. Why are you doing that? Why be the head coach for Mastery program? Why is that important to you? Why does it even matter?
It goes back to my teaching days, you know, and in my coaching days. I've coached two guys that went on this. I coached them in 8th grade and high school. I coached two guys that went on to win 3 Super Bowl rings.
Wow.
Right. Coached another guy who went on to win a national championship at the University of Texas. Right. He threw, not that Vince Young needed to be sprung on that touchdown run against USC, but he was one of the guys to help spring him and throw that block.
Oh, there you go.
So it's kind of cool to coach guys like that.
Yeah.
And everybody says, well, what's it like coaching guys like that? And this is how I tell it. You know, the hardest thing about coaching a guy like that is just getting him on the bus and not crashing the bus on the way to the game. That's pretty much what you got to do when you're dealing with an amazing, talented individual like that. Just get them there. They got it.
And that's what you need in your business.
Yeah, you need some superstars like that in your business. But what I truly enjoy, and this is why I like the playbook. What I truly enjoyed as a coach when I was coaching middle school and ninth grade and things like that, I liked coaching the B teamers. 18 is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's cool to coach the great athletes. I like coaching the B teamers because they're hungry.
Yeah.
They want to be 18. Now, they may not have the skill set as of yet, but by the end of the year, they were lean, mean fighting machine. I mean, because I made sure that my group knew what they were doing, were motivated, were excited about being there and participating and not just being there, but like actively trying to make it better for a win. And I got excited to see the growth in individuals like that. And that's what gets me pumped up, is to see somebody who buys in. And I'm not talking about athletes. I'm not talking about the playbook. I'm just saying who buys in, who goes all in on whatever it is. That gets me motivated. And that's why I'm doing what I do.
Well, and it's clear that that's what you do. I mean, guys, we're listening to Michael Tritthart as he talked about why he became the head coach when I offered that to him for the 5+1 Mastery program. But I will tell you, he is truly doing that. Our members of this group, and if you're interested, you go to 5+1mastery.com. But he is I'll just tell you publicly in front of everybody, you're killing it. Like, I am so glad that you said yes to this. You've lived up to everything I thought and more in providing value to these people with your expertise and your ability to help them, like you just talked about with, helping these young athletes. It's like you're helping young business owners in many ways. We're young, and you can see that's evident. Your value you're adding. I mean,
they're hungry, and they want to succeed. This is a group that wants to build their business up, and so when I see somebody like that gets me motivated.
Listen, if you're listening to this and you're hungry, you need to reach out to Michael. He is a guy that really helps people, become the best version of themselves. So we've been blessed today. Like, we've learned a lot of stuff. Coaching is important, and getting into mastery, the difference between mastery and coaching. We've talked about, look, you can have a great plan and it can go right out the window as soon as, something can happen right away, and you got to like adjust and you got to be ready. And so that's what great teams do. And that's what great mentors and those who are in mastery do. We've been blessed today, guys. I hope that each week you'll plug into the Connect, Share, Prosper podcast, where I bring you successful people like Michael and many others who are doing it. They don't just say it, they do it. They live it. They're all in, as he said. They bring it each and every day. And each week when I bring you these podcasts, we're going to get different perspectives. You're going to get people who come in from very pragmatic implement standpoint, and those who come in from great wisdom of experience and other things. So make sure you plug into this podcast on a regular basis. Share this with your friends. Go to our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Share this podcast. Help Michael get some even more friends, new friends, by sharing this podcast and introducing to them. Michael, once again, thank you for being on Connect, Share, Prosper.
Thanks, Chaz. I appreciate it.